Mangowa and the Round Lakes. Mangowa, the hunter, waiting silently on the edge of the lake to spear some fish, saw a young and beautiful girl, Perilli, paddling her shallow bark canoe toward the distant shore. The sight of the graceful body of Perilli and the ease with which she propelled her simple craft filled Mangowa with an overwhelming desire to possess her. But, although the old men of the tribe agreed that Mangowa could have Perilli as his wife, she refused to agree to the marriage. To court her favours, Mangowa brought her the best fish he had speared, but she allowed them to rot in the sun. He gave her scarlet feathers for her hair and the softest of possum skin cloaks, but she still remained adamant to his wooing. Overwhelmed with desire, Mangowa pursued Perilli wherever she went, pleading his cause and protesting his affection, until one day, in desperation, he seized the girl and carried her to his camp. Perilli, frantic with terror, tore herself from his arms and, flying into the sky, asked the women of the Milky Way to protect her from Mangowa's unwelcome attentions. Furious that the girl had escaped him, Mangowa followed her and, tearing great handfuls of stars from the Milky Way, threw them at Perilli to drive her back to Earth. But the people of the stars, disgusted over Mangowa's behaviour, banished him to Earth, so that Perilli would always be safe in the sparkling constellation of the Seven Sisters. The stars that Mangowa tore from their homes, falling to the earth, made the circular lagoons that fringe the shores of the coastal lakes of South Australia. Wala-Undayua The Lightning Man. The Aboriginal people of Northern Arnhem Land are afraid of the mythical Lightning Man, Wala-Undayua. During the dry season, he spends most of his time in a deep waterhole in the Liverpool River, though sometimes he hunts for wallabies among the cabbage palms that grow along its banks. Wala-Undayua looks on these palms as his personal property, and should anyone so much as touch their trunks, he would kill them with a lightning flash. But should a person throw a stone into his waterhole, an even greater misfortune would happen, for then the Lightning Man, furious over this indignity, would rise into the air and create thunderstorms of such violence that everyone would be destroyed. But it is when the monsoon rains begin that the Lightning Man becomes most belligerent. Leaving his waterhole, he travels in the clouds, roars with the voice of thunder, and with his long arms and legs, which are the lightning flashes, savagely strike the ground, leaving the burnt-out forest and shattered trees of the devastated landscape as evidence of his wrath. At the end of the wet season, Wala-Undayua returns to his waterhole, where he lives peacefully until the monsoon clouds once again form in the sky to renew his violence. Koobor The Drought-Maker. An orphaned koala boy, Koobor was constantly ill-treated and neglected by his relatives. Although he had learnt to live on the foliage of the gum trees, he was never given sufficient water to quench his thirst. One morning, when his relatives set out to gather food, they forgot to hide their water buckets, so that for once in his life, Koobor had enough to drink. But, realizing that unless he stored some water for himself, he would soon be thirsty again, the boy, collecting all the buckets, hung them on a low sapling. Then, climbing into the branches, he chanted a special song that caused the tree to grow so rapidly that it was soon the tallest in the forest. When the people returned in the evening, tired and thirsty, they were indignant to see the water buckets hanging at the top of a very high tree, with Koobor sitting in the midst of them. The men demanded that Koobor should return the stolen water, but he replied that, as he now had all the water, it was their turn to go thirsty. After a number of attempts had been made to climb the tree, 2 clever medicine men succeeded, and, harshly beating him, threw the little thief to the ground. As the people watched, they saw the shattered body of Koobor change into a koala, climb into a nearby tree, and sit in the top branches, where today he does not need water to keep him alive. Koobor then made a law that, though the Aboriginal people may kill him for food, they must not remove his skin or break his bones until he is cooked. Should anyone disobey, the spirits of the dead koala will cause such a severe drought that everyone except the koalas will die of thirst. Yarraby.
Yarraby.